This fall, the Sandman, Adam Sandler, You're My Best Friend Tour.
I feel like we're very good friends now.
Casey Center, Saturday, October 4th. Get tickets now at HiVTix.com.
What is up? It is the second ever in-person Bigger Than 12. Feels weird.
It does.
Not as weird as the first time, but it definitely feels weird.
I don't know whether to look at you or the screen every time we do this.
A little bit of both. Or Aiden.
Or Aiden.
Aiden
yes.
White in the building for a 2-0. Oh, Aiden's got a camera now.
There he goes.
He doesn't have a mic.
I don't have a mic. I have a camera, though.
There we go.
I thought I remember. Was there one time where you didn't have a camera?
The old computer didn't have a camera.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, this is Bigger Than 12, and it is our first, truly in-season show, and I'm pumped. We got a taste of it last week. We had Farmageddon. Kansas beat the crap out of Fresno State, I think.
Yep.
This week, though,
Full slate.
had, 16 games?
Everybody's playing.
Well,
Still got
15,
one more.
15.
One more.
TCU, North Carolina. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear that tonight.
No.
We could have just saved that pick from last week and made our
That is true.
pick in this week, but that's besides the point. We are in the Channel Seed Studios, the new look Channel Seed Studios, black walls.
Looks nice.
Still need to get some signage up, but you got the beautiful channel neon right behind me, behind my left shoulder.
Beautiful.
We've got some Carbliss on the table.
We have a few.
You
just
can
a couple.
You can get those at Fairway Meat and Grocery. Fairway is providing coverage for entire Cyhawk Week across the entire Iowa Everywhere network. Whether you are going up to tailgate at Jack Trice, whether you're going to the game, that doesn't matter. You could be having people over. You should be getting your meat at Fairway. If you're doing it, if you're getting your meat anywhere else,
You're doing it wrong.
you're doing it wrong. Unless you're a farmer and you're just slaughtering a cow on your own farm. That's the only exception. Outside of that, though,
going old school.
you need to be going to Fairway. You can get your Carbliss there. You can get steak. I might have another steak this week. I've been on a big steak kick. You can get your pork chops, burgers, brats, all of it at Fairway. What brings you to town, Derek?
I believe that there was a football game yesterday. I'm not 100% sure on that. I do know there were a lot of beverages consumed.
How'd the game go?
It was great.
Who played?
It was great. Iowa State and South Dakota. Iowa State did play.
The Cyclones up their names?
They did win. And they won.
That's good.
So yes.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
We, I don't know. We just decided to come to a home opener. The last time I've told you this, the last time I came to Jack Trice for a game, last time we were here was for a concert. The last time I went to a game was the 2019 Texas Iowa State game where the ass man hits the game-winning field goal. So that was an experience.
So 6 years ago.
6 years
Wow.
ago. So it's been a while. So a lot has changed even within Jack Trice as well. So yeah, that was, I tweeted that. I was up in the section M, I believe it was, row 4. It was packed.
So somehow you've been to Jack Trice for 2 games in your life. Is that right?
2 games.
Yep.
2 actual games, yes.
And you've seen 2 of probably the 5 most iconic kicks in the history of Jack Trice Stadium.
That is true. Yes, actually, that would be true. Yes, that's 100% true.
I will never forget where I was for the Kyle Conradi 63-yarder.
Well, I know where I was. I was in the stands.
Well, duh. I was right by the field goal post. Well, so we've got a new show format for you guys. Last year, we brought Bigger Than 12 to you on Tuesday nights. It would release Wednesday. So it was too far after games concluded to react to them. Well, now I'm out of local TV. My Sundays are only for Cyclone Fanatic and Bigger Than 12.
Dedicated.
We're recording on Sundays every week in the fall this year as far as we're concerned, and we're going to be reacting to the nitty-gritty of these games. So as much as we enjoyed the 12-pack last year, we understand that it probably became a little redundant at points because we just had to keep talking about the same topics over and over and over again while trying to stay evergreen. That's not the case this year. We are going to give you the full in-depth breakdown of the Big 12, and that is all courtesy of WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. We already told you that Fairway is presenting all the Iowa Everywhere shows this week, but WealthCharter is still presenting Bigger Than 12 today and all season long. Go and head up Tim Hawkins and his team for all of your financial services and retirement planning. and your tax needs. They can do it all in one place and make it super simple for you. Go give WealthCharter Retirement a visit at their website. Just Google WealthCharterRetirement.com. So we're not going to spend a bunch of time on the FCS opponents today. So we're going to focus primarily on Utah, K-State, Baylor, Cincinnati, Colorado, and of course we will bring back our Kraken one for the clone segment. But let's start with Utah. Winners over UCLA 43-10, just a butt kicking out at the Rose Bowl. And Utah looks like they're back.
Yeah, and we actually watched this one together for what it's worth. We did watch this one last night.
Yep, Derek and his wife Michelle came over to my townhome. We made a couple frozen pizzas.
Only the best.
Had a couple sodies.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I've got to mention this because I know there are some people out there wondering. Jake was drinking an old fashioned, and I saw that, and I was like, you know what? Make me one of these Jake Brend famous old fashions, and
World famous.
The SOB puts a maraschino cherry in my old fashioned, so I know that will piss some people off out there. I'm just kidding. It was good,
but
it was fantastic.
Tell the people what I did. I lit it on fire.
He did light it on fire, which is something I have not seen before with the cherry.
I don't know if you're supposed to light a maraschino cherry on fire. I
think you do that with the orange peel.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I also was out of oranges.
There we go. We got to make with what's due. But
I need to go to Fairway.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, we watched this one together, and I think we both probably agree it was just a total ass kicking. And that's what it was. Pure domination up front by Utah. Devin Dampier, the quarterback, I thought he looked fantastic. He was in control of the offense. He was efficient, and I believe he led the team in rushing as well when you look at the stat sheet. So I thought he was in total control. That was my big question mark coming in. Jake, you were very high on Utah this year. My concern was with Dampier because I know this defense. I know what it's capable of. I know how good they are. I think they are a Big 12 championship caliber defense. The problem is I just wasn't sure about Dampier. I have a lot of questions about him going into the season. I feel like some of those have been answered now. But again, I was really impressed with him. And speaking of impressive, I just mentioned Utah's defense hold UCLA to 10 points. They gave up 2 third down attempts the entire game. That's really impressive. So blown away by Utah's performance.
Yeah, so I was high on Utah coming into this year. I picked them to lose in the Big 12 championship game. But to go from whatever they were last year, 15th, 16th, to the top 2 is a substantial jump. And the reason I believed it was I bought into the defense. Like the defense has been what it is under Kyle Whittingham for 2 decades. I knew that was going to be really good to elite. The offense, I think everything just came down to Cam Rising being awful, being hurt. Whoever was behind him being awful or being hurt. And whoever was behind Isaac Wilson being awful or being hurt. And I just thought that even if Dampier isn't a world beater, I thought that all he had to do was be below average, and this team can win 9 games. Yeah. They do have a tough schedule, and they still have their work cut out for them. I don't think UCLA is a good football team. Nico Iamaleava looked terrible, awful. But Utah looked like the team that I thought they were, and then some, in my opinion. I thought their skill position players, Smith Snowden, incredible. Lander Barton also looks to be really good. I know he only had 1 catch, but it was a touchdown. I'm just bought into Utah. I think that not only are they going to be a really good team, I think they're the type of team that the Big 12 needs. Yeah. From a perception standpoint. When they came in last year, they were the conference favorite. They probably shouldn't have been.
A lot of hype.
Based off of what they had at the quarterback spot. But when they were picked to win the league and they were in the top 15 preseason and they were horrible, I think that dragged down the perception of the league. If they can be not a blue blood, but whatever the tier below that is that they're expected to be, I think that helps everybody in the conference. And it looks like we saw that on Saturday night.
And that's going to be why Utah is going to be the focus for me for my refreshing take of the week by Carbliss here.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to crack it open. Actually, this is the pineapple.
How is it? Is that your first sip of Carbliss?
That is my first ever sip of Carbliss, and it's pretty good.
Does it taste like a handcrafted premier vodka cocktail.
It is a lot better. I'm not a big seltzer guy, or just period, any kind of these kind of cocktails, but this one, it tastes really good. Not sweet either.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are very sweet. This one's actually really good. I've been looking forward to trying this pineapple one because I love pineapple. So anytime this over ice, hot day would be delicious. I mean, it hits the spot right now, actually. It was very good.
You got to get them in Texas, but here in Iowa, it is the fastest growing alcoholic beverage.
That's good.
And I envision that continuing. You can grab your Carbliss at any local liquor store, gas station, Fairway. We'd recommend that anytime you go and get your groceries, your meat at Fairway, stop and grab a variety pack of Carbliss. They're really good. And they will be presenting our refreshing take of the week each week. Derek and I will both have one. Derek's is Utah. And the way that we're envisioning this is it's supposed to be like the opposite of a hot take.
Yes.
So what is your refreshing take on Utah?
Utah will be fine. I think there were so many concerns, especially from me. You were very high on them. You picked them to go to the Big 12 championship game. I think there's a lot of other people out there that weren't so high on Utah. They thought maybe they were going to finish 7th, 8th. I think I've seen some people rank them as low as like 9th. But the concern, again, I feel a whole lot better about where Dampier is as a quarterback after watching that UCLA game. Now, we'll say I don't think UCLA is a very good football team.
No.
I don't think Utah had to complete a pass. If they wanted to run the ball 100 times in that game, they would have still won the game with these. That's just how I think. But I don't know. Overall, I think Utah is going to be okay. I feel a whole lot better where they stand. The other thing for me is after the week that the Big 12 had, I mean, you look at Thursday night, what happened on Friday night. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Utah, that game, you look at the slate on Saturday, it wasn't the greatest.
Nope.
But
they were really the only important game on Saturday when you look at it.
You circled the UCLA-Utah game, and you go, the Big 12 needs that game. Utah delivered, and I mean, they beat the crap out of UCLA in the Rose Bowl. So the Big 12 needed that. So they not only picked up the Big 12, from a national perception, looks really good now. We'll see what happens on Monday with TCU. We need that game, too, very badly for this conference. But I think Utah kind of picked up the torch for the Big 12 this weekend and really kind of stood strong.
Should I get on my soapbox now or should I save it? The whole Big 12 is dead thing driving me crazy already. Look, I get it.
I know.
A lot of this, we'll get to Dave Aranda. I'm going to save that for a couple minutes down the road. Dave Aranda embarrassed the Big 12. But Cincinnati, Colorado, they were not expected to win those games. Honestly, both of them looked a little better than I expected them to. Not great. Baylor really dragged down the perception, but I don't think it is fair to immediately say, well, it looks like the Big 12 is a one bid league again when Iowa State looks maybe better than last year. Off to a 2-0 start. Utah, I think last night looked like a top 10 team in the country. If I filled out an AP ballot, I would have them in my top 10 based off of what I saw from them in the trenches. Arizona State hasn't played a real opponent yet. Neither is Texas Tech. We all know what Arizona State brought back. We all know what Texas Tech spent. TCU still has to play. I just think it's unfair to bury the league off of Baylor getting embarrassed and Cincinnati and Colorado, two teams that I believe to be not in the top 10 of the conference, losing to other Power 5 teams.
Yeah, and I did tweet out that the Big 12 had a disastrous weekend. I still kind of feel like that, but Utah made me feel a little bit better about this. But I just think, I know Baylor was an underdog. I know Colorado was an underdog, and Cincinnati, I believe, was also an underdog. I just felt like the conference could have at least gotten one of those games.
Yeah, it hurt. There's no doubt.
You go 0-3 in those games. That's really tough for me. And then also, we'll talk about this too in a minute, like the way that some of these teams lost, just not great.
Yeah.
Not great.
Maybe I'll just call that my Carbliss refreshing take of the week because everyone just calm down.
You were supposed to save that, but you're just using this as an excuse to crack one of these open.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I've honestly never had a pineapple. I'm a big fan of the cranberries.
It's very good.
I'm usually not able to find the variety pack, so I'm glad that you guys were able to.
I did.
So I always buy the 4-pack of the cranberries. So I'm going to try the pineapple as well. That's a good beverage.
It's good.
That is a good beverage. That is refreshing, and that provides my refreshing take of the week. just take a deep breath. The Big 12, it might still be a one-bid league. Just don't draw that conclusion before we've even seen Arizona State, Texas Tech, TCU play real games.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Long season
That's
to go
all I
still.
ask.
Long season to go.
So we'll move on to Kansas State. Oh, boy. They survive. They got out of harm's way with just a win. And this was my original Carbliss refreshing take, and I'll still give the take. It's just not my refreshing take. I think this is one you just have to get out of there with a win and burn it. We all know the struggles that teams have had coming back from Ireland in general, but even more after a loss. Like Northwestern a few years ago, I guess they won that game, but they didn't win a game after that. Nebraska, they lost that game. Scott Frost got fired a couple of weeks later because they lost to Georgia Southern. I think no matter who was playing the next week, it could have been Alabama, it could have been Ohio State, it could have been Georgia. Playing an FCS opponent after losing in Ireland is a tough spot. And K-State did not look good. I'm not getting that twisted. But I think they're going to be okay, especially because they just got out of there with a win. What did you think?
I think it was such a weird game, and I said that before the show. Like, North Dakota led at halftime. Kansas State just didn't look alive. And then all of a sudden, Kansas State kind of wakes up in that third quarter.
Yeah, they took a 10-point lead.
They take a 10-point lead in the third quarter. I'm like, okay, they have full control of this game. And then North Dakota just comes roaring back, and it's, I don't know, Kansas State to me just looked really rusty. It looked like they hadn't come back from Ireland yet. It looked like they were still overseas or whatever they were doing. Avery Johnson, I don't think he was playing poorly. I just think a lot of times when I'm watching him and the receiver group there, it's like they're not on the same page. I don't know what it is about them. Their defense they broke a few times against Iowa State in that first game. I felt like the same thing with North Dakota. Like, they kind of just did what they wanted to at times. So the inconsistencies across the board for me for Kansas State is very concerning. And, they got into a fist fight with North Dakota. Like, it was kind of back and forth, especially the later in that game. Kansas State needs a late stop. They have to go down and score. Then they need another stop. So it was a fist fight. Kansas State was lucky enough to get the last punch, but I don't know. This, even when they won, I mean, they did win the game, which is good, but it's still not the greatest look for the Big 12 when you have one of the top teams in your conference, or at least one of the teams that you think was going to be one of the top teams in a literal fist fight with North Dakota, who's not very good.
What I will say from a concerning standpoint for K-State, the areas that I'm primarily concerned about with them: secondary, special teams, and Avery.
Yeah.
Maybe not Avery, but the other two, that gave me no reason to think that they're going to get better. Special teams was awful. They fumbled on a kick return. They had a couple close calls with extra points. Like that, their special teams, for whatever reason, under Chris Kleiman, have been horrible. And it's almost a reason that they started the season 0-2. That's unacceptable. Their secondary was picked apart by an FCS opponent. They had, I believe, 10 different players catch passes, and it didn't look like North Dakota quarterback Jerry Kaminsky had a lot of problems doing that. I still think their front seven's really good. They've got to shore up the secondary. Avery Johnson, I thought he had a really rough first half. Again, he threw for 320 yards.
Yeah.
The stat line's going to say that he was really good. I think he was fine. He did lead a game-winning drive, though, which, even against an FCS opponent, when they got the ball back, I didn't know if they're going to be able to do that. So for Avery to do that, I think is a small step, but I'm not confident in my Kansas State to win the Big 12 pick from preseason at all.
Yeah, and I picked them to make it to Arlington, and I feel terrible about that pick now. You picked them to win, so yeah.
Well, I changed that after week 0.
Okay, well, that's true. Well, then I get to have a retake then at some point.
Kidding.
But yeah, something's got to change there. They have to clean it up, because once they get into conference play, they're not going to be getting to make these mistakes and then get away with it late in games like this. It's not going to go down that smoothly.
Yeah, so they come back next week and they play Army. That's a game where they need to win that, because Army just lost to an FCS opponent down from your country, right? How close are you to Tarleton State? Is that Dallas area?
Stephenville, so it's north
of Dallas.
Yeah, no, it's somewhere near there.
Yeah, they played Drake last year in the FCS playoffs. That's the only reason I was aware of Tarleton State. But Army just lost to an FCS opponent. Yeah. K-State, that's a game they've got to go win by 30. You have to walk out of there feeling good about yourself because they go to Arizona, and I don't know what to make of Arizona yet. Yeah. I'm very low on them. They did just beat the piss out of Hawaii. Hawaii, though,
not very good.
Not very good. Yeah. What's that say for Stanford? Because Hawaii beat Stanford. But either way, they do start Big 12 play on the road in 2 weeks, and they really need to shore some things up before that.
100%. And you mentioned the secondary. That was one of my main concerns coming into the season, and I don't feel good about it at all right now. So I don't know. They've got to clean up their act quickly.
How about Baylor?
Oh, Dave.
Aiden, do we have some sad music that we can play?
Is fire Dave Aranda back? Is that what we're going back to?
I'll lead the charge.
Or we're going to fire him every single week and then he turns it around suddenly? Gosh.
That game, talk about missed opportunities. 3-0, they were in the red zone, walked away empty-handed, and then the next drive, Jackson Arnold, they had him wrapped up like 3 different times, didn't wrap him up, extended plays, and the better team won.
Yes.
The better team won on Friday night. And what does that say about Baylor? What's that say about Dave Aranda? It says that that's a disappointing way to start the season. They still haven't played a Big 12 game. There's a lot of time for them to right the ship. But I think Aranda's track record of having expectations and failing to meet them has me really worried with them. Because whenever they jump up and surprise you, it's because they weren't expected to do anything. The Big 12 was asking a lot out of Baylor on Friday night to go beat a team that wasn't picked to finish in the top 10 of the SEC. Just go beat them. You don't have to look amazing doing it, and they looked terrible. Awful. Yeah. Especially on defense.
Yeah, I'll kind of start with Sawyer Robertson. I think he got a little bit of the blame, which I'm not sure is that fair because I think
he had a pretty misleading 400-yard game.
Yeah, I don't think he played that poorly though. Like his receivers at times really didn't help him out.
No,
3 touchdown passes should have been a 4th if not for that one drop late in the game where they really needed that 4th down or 4th and goal and they just couldn't do it. But he had no help either. You look at the running stats: 64 yards on 24 carries. Their offensive line got 0 push against Auburn. And Auburn's defensive line is very good. Like they have one of the best players in college football on their defensive line. And speaking of push, I mean, you look on the flip side, what Auburn just did to Baylor's defense. I mean, they ran all over them. I think over 300 yards, Jackson Arnold leading the way. I believe they averaged 6 yards a carry, something around that. So it was very, very.
It was bad.
It was bad. And it's like, every single time Auburn snapped the ball on first down, their first downs, they probably averaged 8 yards of play.
It looked like they were in 2nd and 3 every single time.
Constant 2nd and short, 3rd and 1, and then 4th and shorts. And it was just so easy. Their playbook was just wide open all game long. Didn't really need to do a ton because they just kept running the ball. And it was like Baylor almost had no clue that Jackson Arnold could move. They had 0 awareness of him running the football, and they didn't make adjustments. It didn't get any better in the second half. So Baylor could not stop them at all. I feel like that defense is it's bad. It's not great. I mean, when you're a team like Utah or Kansas State, you have these mobile quarterbacks. You know exactly what you're going to do when Baylor rolls into town.
So. Well, the good news is that surely Dave Aranda is not a defensive-minded coach, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that leads me into another new segment here on Bigger Than 12. It's Who Needs a Fix, presented by Freedom Tire. Freedom Tire's got 5 locations in central Iowa: Ames, Altoona, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. They're still doing their giveaway. iowaeverywhere.com. Go and enter for a chance to win a set of 4 free tires. And then if you win, you also get to donate to a charity of your choice. Freedom Tire will be presenting this segment on Who Needs a Fix, and it's Dave Aranda. Dave, it's now or never, man. If you can't turn this around, if you can't salvage this, if you can't go and win at SMU next week and gosh, save your season. This could be the last of the Dave Aranda era.
I mean, it sucks what happened because it was a bad look for Baylor, who's at least we expected to compete possibly for a Big 12 title.
I had him in the top 5.
Yeah, I did too. And I'm still very high on Baylor. I still think they're going to be
I'm high on the talent.
Exactly.
I'm not high on the coaching.
That's fair. I think that's fair. But the good news is it was not a conference game. It does hurt the perception of the league, but it wasn't a Big 12 game. They could still, win 7 games in the conference. They could still go 7-2 in conference play and be okay. So I'm not ready to throw them away just yet. But what I saw on Friday night was not good.
They start Big 12 play with Arizona State at home. They go to Stillwater, that should be a win. And then they get K-State. And then at TCU. Like, it's a brutal start. If they don't beat SMU, I mean, they're off to an 0-2 start. Before you even play Arizona State, K-State, TCU.
Is TCU after Kansas State?
Yep.
Wow.
They've got a 3-game stretch of K-State at home and then at TCU at Cincinnati. Like that.
There's a world where they could lose 5 games before November.
And we'll be talking about who's Baylor going to hire.
Gosh. Yeah. I don't know. It's still a long way to go. So,
but that is my Who Needs a Fix presented by Freedom Tire. Do we just want to get into yours next? We'll go to Colorado.
Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely.
Colorado loses at home to Georgia Tech. I called this the game of missed opportunities. Georgia Tech turned the ball over the first 3 possessions, and Colorado was able to get 1 touchdown out of it.
Yeah.
I'll just let you do your Who Needs a Fix presented by Freedom Tire, and then I'll share my thoughts on the game.
I think for me, what needs a fix is that Colorado, like their hurry up offense. I know we call it a 2-minute drill, but there's also like a 1-minute drill. Colorado, they were up they had 2 timeouts, down by 7. They need to go the length of the field just to tie the game, which I think is very doable with 2 timeouts in your back pocket. But it's like they didn't even try. Like Caden Salter.
It was so weird.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He wasn't aware of the clock. Apparently, neither was the coaching staff. They ran 5 plays in 1 minute and 8 seconds and only made it to the 50-yard line. And then somehow, I don't even know how this is possible, ended the game with there's 2 timeouts still. Well, you can't take them with you. Didn't use a single timeout in any sequence. Like, I don't understand it at all. Inexcusable for an offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur, who was once an NFL head coach. Inexcusable for Dion, who he should know better than that. Like, you run these drills in practice in the preseason and all this stuff during camp. Like, it's inexcusable. I don't understand what I was watching. That was like not even high school level. That was like junior high level execution down the stretch with your little 2-minute drill there. It was one of the worst I've ever seen.
I personally thought it was poor execution, start to finish. And I want to focus on the quarterback position, Caden Salter. I know that's the easiest thing to go to. I was not impressed at all with Salter. We talked about the missed opportunities, the late game management. I just thought quarter 1 to quarter 4, Salter did not look like the quarterback that I expected him to look like. And I don't mean to be a prisoner of the moment, but I was thinking the entire time, how long before we see Juju Lewis? Because I was not impressed with Salter. I think if you look at the top 7 quarterbacks in this league, from Rocco to Levitt to Hoover, if they were given that opportunity on a golden platter, they're not going to be up 7-0 after that. And that's why I'm not high on Colorado, because if they can't win a game against a pretty good Georgia Tech team, like I'll call them above average. If you can't win a game when they hand you the ball 3 times to start the game, I don't know how many games you're going to be able to win unless they make a big change somewhere.
And not only that offensively, just defensively too. Like, Georgia Tech ran for over 300 yards in this game. It reminded me a lot. I was actually watching both games. I was on the airplane. I'm flipping back and forth between all these games. And it reminded me a lot of the Baylor game, because you look at it, I mean, Colorado really couldn't stop the run at all. Haynes King, I mean, he's an athletic quarterback that, like, they knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Still had no answer
tough to tackle.
And he's tough to tackle. I'll give him that. But still, it it's just mind-boggling to me. You mentioned the missed opportunities offensively. I don't know. I don't think either one of us were high on Colorado. I think I had them 9th or 10th
I had them like
this
13th.
year. You had them a little bit further back than what I did, but yeah, I don't feel great. At some point, we might see Lewis. I know Dion said before, like there's a good chance he could play at some point. So I don't know if the quarterback shakeup's what they need. And it is Salter's first start at Colorado after transferring in from Liberty, but not great really on either side of the ball. So they did not look good. And I thought it was a very winnable game for them too. Like,
yeah, they should have won. When you look at the outcomes of the game, like going in, I didn't think they'd win. I picked Georgia Tech to cover. But if you had told me that they turned the ball over to start the game 3 different times, you can't lose that game. And I'm probably even a little bit lower on Colorado now than I was.
Well, I guess we're going to have to find out what Lewis looks like, because if he lights it up, maybe he can turn that
could change
around. That could change things for them, but yeah.
So that's 6 games into the year they play Iowa State.
Oh, you don't want to see a quarterback change.
Is it the classic?
Then?
Yeah, make the quarterback change right before then. We won't think about that. But
oh man,
we got one more game, and then we will do some Iowa trivia and crack one for the Clones. Cincinnati falls short against Nebraska. This similar to the Colorado game in a way. I just thought there was a lot of missed opportunities. Cincinnati didn't deserve to win this game. Nebraska was the better team, but Nebraska did the thing that they've done for pretty much my entire life.
Give the game away.
Yeah, kick or shoot themselves in the foot, try to give the game away. And Cincy, it looked like they were going to capitalize on it and weren't able to. Brendan Sorsby threw a late interception, and I don't think that should be the way to judge how the game went for Sorsby, but he missed what could have been a touchdown bad. That pass had to be an incompletion.
Yeah.
It couldn't be underthrown, and that's what it was. And Cincinnati misses another golden opportunity for the Big 12.
And I don't think Cincinnati, played poorly. I don't think they looked that terribly. Like offensively, I think I still have some concerns about their receiver group because it was not great. Like the offense relied so much on the legs of Brendan Sorsby.
Yeah.
And you can't do that all season long. At some point, they're going to have to form some sort of a passing game. I was actually impressed with the way the defense handled themselves against that Patrick Mahomes wannabe.
Yeah, their new secondary, which is they lost five starters. I thought their defense looked good, which
it was pretty good.
I think their defense looked a little better than I thought, and the offense looked worse than I expected.
I think that's fair. And then the other thing is the 2 turnovers in that game. I know it was just 2 turnovers, but they were back-breaking turnovers.
Yeah.
You think of the first one right before the end of the half. Then you let Nebraska score there, and then of course to end the game, we just talked about. Mind them taking a shot at the end of that game, but you're right. You can't. And it's got to be an incompletion or a touchdown. You can't throw that ball short the way he did. I don't think it was. It wasn't a great throw. Now the Nebraska defender, he made a great play. Made a great play.
Yep.
All credit to him. He made a great play. But like you could have turned that. I mean, I don't know. You had a chance to go win the game, or at the very least, you're in field goal range already.
Yes,
could have possibly tied the game. Maybe send it into overtime. But what you did, you put the nail in your own coffin with that throw. So I don't know. And I don't mind them taking a shot, but you live to fight another down. And Cincinnati didn't do it. They wanted to end it there.
Well, I think it was first down too.
Yeah, and I think it was first down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they had just gotten a big third down, and then
I believe that is correct.
They went for it on first down, and it ended up being, I still think it was the right decision. I just think it was the wrong execution. So you have it on record, you watching at home, that I gave Scott Satterfield credit. So there you have it. There's my one time for the year.
So yeah, something you're never going to say again this year.
Well, that was fun.
I think, and the other thing I will say this, I got to say it, that I know Cincinnati got paid for that game, which is great, but for them to give up a home game to only
ridiculous
to let Nebraska fans
I'd be so
fill up
mad.
Arrowhead Stadium. It was 99.99% Nebraska fans in that game.
And somehow that's not even the worst thing that happened.
Yeah.
Somehow the worst thing than letting Nebraska have 99.9% of the stadium there was letting Dylan Raiola go into Arrowhead Stadium and glaze Patrick Mahomes for 5 hours straight.
Yeah, that was
embarrassing. That's an embarrassing look on the hands of the Cincinnati athletic department. You should not have allowed that opportunity for Raiola.
or the Big Ten trying to take credit for Travis Kelce. I don't think there's anybody else important there. Was there, Aiden? Maybe not.
That were fighting words.
Wait, I missed the joke.
I think there were some important people inside the stadium for that game.
Are you calling Patrick Mahomes not important?
Oh, gosh. This joke's just going right over your head, Jake.
Or what if I made the joke go over your head? See, I never mind.
I don't like the mind games in here.
I was trying to like
work environment. Right
This is creating a very bad work environment for all three of us.
Well, it's going to be a worse work environment after Aiden asked the Iowa trivia question.
Probably. It's not a Swift question, is it?
It is not.
Okay.
But it is Cyhawk week.
Oh, it
For
is.
those keeping track at home, let me pull up my question
It's
right
hate
here.
week.
Is that what they call it? Hate week?
Yeah, if you've been waiting for an opportunity to like not hold the door open for an elderly woman, if she's wearing a Hawkeye sweatshirt, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Shut the door?
Yep.
Okay.
Those are the rules. We don't make them.
Yep. It's allowed for 1 week.
All right. Can either one of you name the first coach at Iowa State from Iowa to beat the Hawkeyes?
Oh boy. Wait, like the first coach that happened to be born in Iowa?
Yep.
Okay. Was it Dan McCarney?
No. I know that. I know it's not Dan.
They didn't beat Iowa a lot.
I would
I'll
say
let
there's
you
a
guess.
0% chance that either one of you get these
I'll let you guess one
Is
more
it
time.
is it going to be from like 1920s or 30s?
earlier.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
Paul Rhodes?
Bingo.
that
I'm
felt
going to
like
guess that it's not.
well, the Paul Rhodes era does feel like it was back. I'm
going to guess that it's not Pop Warner. I don't know where
No.
Pop's from.
No, was not Pop Warner. I'm not sure where he's
I
from either.
I
I'm
don't even
stumped.
I don't even have a guess.
It's the legendary Burt German.
Burt German. What a legend.
Old Burt.
I was gonna punt on this question when I found out that it was like the 1890s, but I thought it was kind of cool that he's from Makokota. Fun fact.
Shout out Bo Bowman.
His playing career and coaching career both started in 1894.
So he was a player coach.
Yeah, head coach.
That's awesome.
How many player coaches have won the Cyhawk game? Is it
That's a
just
great
just
question.
old Burt German?
Yeah, right. I believe though.
18. What was it? 1894
He
when
was-
he beat Iowa?
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
He was 3-0 against the Hawkeyes, I believe.
Legend. His name's got to be somewhere around, right?
Yeah. When are we starting the Burt German
Burt
statue
German.
petition? That's that question stumped me.
He was beating Iowa before they even had an actual football. I think they were just playing with twigs, using sticks as the football. Probably there wasn't even a forward pass then, was there? I don't believe there was.
No, I don't think so.
I don't.
Which is funny because there's still no forward pass in Iowa City either. So it works out perfectly for them.
You said 1894, Aiden?
1894.
1894.
Well, I don't know much about 1894, but I would guess that back in 1894 that Iowa was still the king of corn in the world, thanks to the Iowa Corn Growers Association. Pump it up all season long with ethanol at the pump. I don't think they would have had ethanol pumps back in 1894. I could be wrong though.
No.
So
You were just on horseback, I believe.
yeah,
at that
so
point.
just think it could be worse. Think right now you could be in 1894 and you'd have no access to ethanol. You should pump it up all season long with ethanol. Iowa Corn Growers Association. We'd also like to thank the Iowa Distilling Company for providing the 1958 Iowa State vodka, or 1858
1858.
Iowa State vodka. Was Burt German alive in 1858?
Actually, probably
Let
not.
me,
If he was,
Unless he was like a 40-year-old
Nope.
player coach.
no, he
No.
was not.
they didn't get. I don't think they gave him the 8 years of eligibility back
Yeah,
then.
he was born April 19th, 1873.
Wait, he has the same birthday as Perry Ellis. That is incredible. I don't know how we got to that from the 1858 vodka read, but 1858 Iowa State vodka, that is the best way that you can show your support for the Iowa State Cyclones this week during Hate Week and all season long. Go and check out the Iowa Distilling Company in Cumming if you've never been. Grab yourself a bottle or 7, or if you're too far away, hit up your local Fairway meat and grocery or liquor store and take home some Iowa State vodka. And that leads right into our cracking one for the clones segment. We already talked a little bit about the game, so we don't need to talk a ton about it, but cheers to a Cyclone victory.
We've already cracked it, so that's why there's no sound.
What were your thoughts watching Iowa State in person?
That was a boring game, and I think that's exactly the way you want these types of games to go when you play a team like South Dakota. I think starting with Rocco Becht, the more I watch him, the more I am so impressed by the way he handles himself, by the way he plays. There was a time in the stadium where I was like, I don't think he's missed a pass yet. He ended up missing one, 19 for 20, I believe, 3 touchdowns. I think after the first, this is, officially week 1 now is in the books, but after the first 2 games for them, I think you can make a strong case to say that Rocco Becht is the best quarterback in the Big 12 right now, and maybe one of the best in the country. There are people out there that think maybe he's a top 5 quarterback in the country. And then, just around him, the offense rushes for over 200 yards. Hanson and Sama, they didn't really have to do a whole lot in that game.
Which is good.
Yeah. And then, of course, the defense. I mean, how about them? You give up an early score right there. You give up the early score. Then after that, they completely locked that South Dakota offense down, didn't allow a single score after that. And I think they only had, 200 yards of total offense in that game. It was something close to that. So I don't know. I was just really, really impressed by the way they handled themselves. And watching them just as a whole, it's hard not to compare them to Kansas State, who just came back from Ireland as well, played piss poor against North Dakota. But watching them on Saturday, that did not look like a team that just crossed a bunch of time zones and came back from Ireland and that were still, not ready or a little rusty. They were there, they came ready, they handled their business, they played extremely well. Not only that, with the starters, by the third quarter, almost every starter was gone, going in that last quarter, and they still played fantastic across the board. Even the backups played really, really well. So for them to carry that on throughout the game for 4 quarters, really impressed with Iowa State. And I think it's safe to say now, maybe it's still early, but I think they belong in that top 2 or 3 conversation in the Big 12 now.
I'm at a point right now where I can't help but compare every single move of this team to the 2021 team. They're in very similar spots. The 2020 team at the time, it was probably no doubt it was the best team in school history. They made a Big 12 championship. They won the Fiesta Bowl. You compare that team to last year's team, finally get over the 10-win mark. You make the Big 12 championship. You bring a lot back. You have all these expectations. What did the 21 team do? They folded.
Yeah.
Pretty much at every point that there was pressure, they did not meet that expectation. Matt Campbell has reflected on that a lot. He's talked about how the players, the staff, there was some entitlement. They thought that they'd already made it when they'd made it to a point, but they hadn't made it to the highest point. I think all of that is gone. I try and think if that 21 team started the season in Ireland, beat K-State, had this emotional win, what would they have done next week against an FCS opponent? I don't think it would have been that. I think this team is mature. They played a near perfect football game. It's obviously never going to be perfect, but your quarterback sets a school record for completion percentage, 95%. Your defense plays about as vanilla as possible, gives up an early touchdown, pretty much locks it down after the Jamison Patton interception. South Dakota only crossed midfield once after that point. You made a 63-yard field goal. Yeah. You had 2 35-plus yard punt returns. It was just a complete football game, and Campbell, I think, has officially put away the question marks of playing these FCS opponents or early season starts. And of course, this can all age poorly. They've played 2 games. There's still 10 to go. But what I saw Saturday reinforced the point that Matt Campbell has not only understood what's gone wrong in the past, he's adapted and he's excelled at that. And I think that we will see that even more going forward. And I don't know if I've ever felt better about where the football program is than right now.
It feels like it's already firing on all cylinders, and it's just, week 1. So they've only played 2 games, and it feels like this team is already in midseason form. Didn't have those mistakes in the back end like we saw in the Kansas State game at all. So I thought they cleaned that up.
Kaijon got beat a couple times. He's a young guy. That's been one of my fears. Not that he's not going to be a good safety, but it's really easy for those young guys, I think, to be flamethrowers and be ultra aggressive. Sometimes it's knowing the time, knowing the down, knowing the score, and focusing a little more on the coverage. That is something to watch out for next week, I would say.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you're trying to pick out negatives from what you've seen in that game, in the second half of the K-State game, you've really, really, really got to nitpick.
Yeah, there's not many, I would say. I feel like they've played the last 6 quarters of football that they played have been damn near perfect outside of the one touchdown drive at the end there. So I thought they've really been playing well. Really impressed with them so far. So really excited for this week and this opportunity they're going to have on Saturday as well.
A big one on Saturday.
A big one.
And
big noon kickoff going to be there.
It's a good spot to go to Whiskey River.
It is.
The problem, so Whiskey River can always promise a good time, but the Cyhawk game, it is not promised to be a good time. 50% of the state will not be having a good time.
True.
The other 50% will be having the best time, but we can guarantee 100% success rate at Whiskey River to go look for a good time.
Looking for a good time? Thought so. Whiskey River is just the place. We've got the booze, the food, the vibe, and the amazing rooftop patio. The only thing missing is you. Whiskey River.
I love that ad.
It's the best.
We're going to make it at some point. We were going to do it last night, but I think...
I still got a few more days here.
I think I at least underestimated what it was like being back on a college football Saturday in the States, how long of a day that is. And I didn't even have a sip of alcohol, let alone you. So I
didn't have a sip of alcohol either.
I think we'll make it to Whiskey River to watch some football / baseball over the next few days. And they are presenting our picks, but we've got a problem. So I wrote down 5 games. We don't have a line for 2 of them yet, so I think we're just going to be picking 3 games this week.
That's fine with me. It's too early. Yeah.
If that's fine, maybe we can just, once the lines come out, we can make picks in private.
That's fair.
And we'll bring them to you next week to see how we did. I need to track. We'll do that after the TCU North Carolina game. We'll track our results for week 1. We'll have all that for you after next week's show. But let's start out with it. We just talked about the Cyhawk game. 11 a.m. on Big Fox for Big Noon kickoff. The Cyclones are favored by 2.5 as it opened. I'll double check. It is still at 2.5 as we speak. The over-under at 44.5. Where are you going in this one, Derek?
Oh, boy. Well, I just talked about Iowa State, how impressed I am with them as a whole, defensively, offensively. I feel like they are playing at an extremely high level right now. I feel good about it. Iowa, on the other hand, I know they played a barn burner there against Albany, but I don't know. I feel like with Iowa State being at home, which some people would say would be a bad thing in this game, but I think that curse is finally broken. For the first time since 2011?
Yep.
I believe that they're going to get it done in Ames at Trice Stadium in front of those crazy fans. So I'm going to take Iowa State to win and also to cover in this one. So I feel good about that spread.
I'm with you. I think this is the year, for the first time since Steel Jance, that Iowa State wins a Cyhawk game at Trice Stadium. You can say what you want about the pressure, about Rocco Becht doesn't care about the shortcomings of 2017.
Nope.
Or 2019 or 2021 or even 2023. That was Rocco under center, but that
was a different Rocco.
That wasn't Rocco.
That wasn't Rocco yet.
It was the same guy. It was the same quarterback. It was not the same trust in Rocco. The staff, whether it was the right decision at the time or not, didn't really put the ball in his hands at all. He was still kind of on training wheels, and it's understandable after losing your starting quarterback a month before the season. That's a different guy. And I believe in Rocco. I trust him to beat Iowa and be the better team, and I think Iowa State might even do it by double digits.
Wow. It's going pretty far there.
We'll find out officially in Randy Peterson's picks column this week. Ooh. But We'll see.
You're throwing flames already.
We'll see.
It's
I don't even know.
Even Monday, and you're throwing throwing shade.
I don't even know the last time I picked Iowa State to win the Cyhawk game. I don't like reverse psychology. So that's what I actually think.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I don't know about double digits, but I think it's fair to say Iowa State should be the favorite going into this week.
Up next, this is a big game happening at the same time on the CW. Ooh. Baylor at SMU. SMU is favored by a field goal. The over-under is 60.5. I'm struggling with this one. Where are you going?
Well, the over-under there at 60.5 should say everything because this one is going to be a high-scoring game. I have no doubt about that. I don't know a lot about SMU. I don't think they're as good as they were last year.
Not.
I think Baylor's probably going to come on this game very pissed off. I think Dave Aranda, the fuel that we just gave Dave Aranda for this week, I think it's going to be good. I think Baylor's going to be ready to go in this one. I think Baylor is just going to outright win this game.
All right. I'm not confident in Baylor, but I'm also not confident in picking against them at this point because I never know where Aranda's going to go.
Yep.
I am confident in a back and forth game though. So give me the over 60.5. I think this is a close game played in the 30s. And hopefully, Baylor needs to pull this game out. I don't know if it'll happen, but I will take the over.
That's a safe bet.
And then I'll just name the two games that we are going to do, but don't have lines for. We will, once the lines are out, we'll text each other our picks. Oklahoma State at Oregon on that's going to be a double-digit line. That'll probably be in the 20s.
Hammer Oregon in that game.
That's 2:30 on CBS. And then Arizona State at Mississippi State to close the night, 6:30 on ESPN2. Arizona State, if I had to guess, will be a touchdown favorite, 5.5, 6.5, somewhere in that range.
Probably something like that.
So we'll make our picks. We'll do it honestly. But then our last game that we do have a line on for the first time in, I believe, 13 years, I think.
It's been a while.
Kansas at Missouri.
Is this the border war? Is that what that is?
Yep, the border war.
Okay.
2:30 on ESPN2. The Tigers favored by 6.5 points. The over-under is 51.5.
I think Jalen Daniels in this game he's going to reemerge to the national scene, make a name for himself once again. I think quietly, and it's like these two games he played against, I know it's Wagner, and against Fresno State, he has looked really, really good. And I know against the opponents it's not the best, but still, I think he's starting to look like the guy we saw 2 or 3 years ago right now. And I'm not so sure that Missouri is going to be ready for that. I know they have some quarterback injuries as well.
Yeah, they're
over there.
I'm blanking on the guy's name who was in a quarterback competition with Prebula, but he got hurt.
He's gone
early on in that game.
So I don't know if Kansas is going to win this game, but I feel really confident that they're going to cover that spread there. So I'm going to take Kansas to cover in that one.
I'm with you. I'm going to go with the Jayhawks. This is a heated rivalry between the fan bases. I don't know how much bad blood there is between the teams, considering that there's pretty much zero familiarity with the two. But I like where Kansas is starting the season. I like how they're probably still being nationally underlooked based off of a disappointing season last year. But we all know how close that they were to winning 9 or 10 games. I think Kansas is back, and they're a player at the top of the Big 12. And I don't think Missouri is much of a team. This is a big opportunity for Kansas to represent the Big 12 well and maybe earn back some of the goodwill that Baylor lost.
Yeah, because let's face it, Oregon is going to crush Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that game means nothing.
Nobody's expecting Oklahoma State to do nothing after the Hengy injury. So I don't think with that it's not going to be okay. But Arizona State at Mississippi State, we don't have a line for that game, but that game is massive. And I don't know if people are really talking about that game yet, but still, because there's so many other good games that day. But that is a massive game for the Big 12 because Arizona State is the Big 12 favorite.
And Mississippi State's a bottom dweller.
And exactly. We cannot have another repeat of what the Baylor-Auburn game that we saw last week. So.
And I think that game's even more of an extreme gap between the two.
Yes.
Of course, it is in Starkville, so
it's a tough environment.
You're dealing with a road environment opposed to playing at home like Baylor was. But this is one of those games where if Arizona State lost that, then I wouldn't feed into it, but I would be like, yeah, the narrative of the Big 12 only being a one-bid league is fair. If you're
Can't lose that game.
If your conference champ goes out and loses that way.
Can't lose
so
that game.
Cannot lose that game.
Can't lose the Iowa game either.
Yeah, that's equally, if it's not the biggest non-conference game for the Big 12, it's up there in the top 3, top 4. It's a massive game for the perception. Anytime that you can play these middle of the pack or better teams from the Big 10 or the SEC and walk away with a win, that's massive. So we'll be cheering for it. We can say that because I don't work in local media anymore. I'm cheering for the Cyclones.
Well, technically, you still do work in local media.
I don't work in standard corporate media.
There you
anymore.
go. We're not corporate. We're not
Arrest me. I'm cheering for the Cyclones next week.
We don't have any suits and ties here, I don't believe.
I've still got all my suits and ties in my closet, but they've gone mostly unused. Maybe I'll bring it to maybe we'll go to a dive bar tonight and I'll throw on a suit and tie. Go drink a Manhattan. There
we go. That's a a good dive bar is going to have a great Manhattan.
Well, Aiden, you got any parting thoughts? This is the last time you'll see Derek in person.
Yeah. UCF struggled, so tough luck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We forgot it.
I got some shit on X for that already. Yeah. I saw that.
Ready to change your preseason ballot?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm still sticking with my guns. Scott Frost.
Wow.
They started the wrong guy.
Duke is high on UCF. And he's high on crack.
There we go.
For being high on UCF. We'll be back same time next week. Thanks for tuning into Bigger Than 12. We are just getting started the 2025 season.